Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today is Sunday, January 18th, 2026. And if you have been trying to refresh your news feeds on East Africa, and that's assuming you can even get a signal through, you know exactly why we're here.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are turning our eyes to Uganda. The dust is officially settling on the presidential election. Or maybe, to be a bit more accurate, the dust is just starting to get kicked up into a storm.
It certainly feels that way. From everything we're reading, it feels less like the end of something and more like the beginning of a confrontation. The whole situation is just incredibly volatile.
Exactly. And here's the hook, right? The central tension we're trying to unravel today is this. On paper, if you just look at the official numbers, it was a massive, clean landslide victory.
A done deal.
A done deal. But if you look at the streets of Kampala right now, it looks like a city under siege.
And that's the disconnect we need to explore. So our mission for this deep dive is to move past those headline numbers and really understand this state of high tension that's gripped the nation. We need to unpack the competing stories between the 81-year-old incumbent and the opposition, look at the reality on the ground, and of course, see how the international community is reacting.
And just so you know, everything we're talking about today is built on a stack of breaking news, observer mission statements, official addresses, all from just the last 24 to 48 hours. We're sort of piecing this together in real time with you.
Let's do it.
So we have to start with the official numbers. This is where the official story begins. Yesterday, January 17th, the Electoral Commission made the announcement.
Right. They declared that President Museveni has secured a 7th term in office. And the margin they announced was, it was massive. They're saying he won with approximately 71.65% of the vote.
71.65%. I just want to pause on that for a second. For a 7th term, after 40 years in power, getting over 70% that's a statistical outlier, isn't it?
It is. It's the kind of number that's meant to project total dominance. It's a statement. It's not a narrow win. It's meant to say, this is not up for debate.
But then you have the main challenger, Bobi Wine Robert Kyagulanyi. The official tally gives him just 24.72%.
Right, about a quarter of the vote.
And you'd think, okay, maybe he gives a concession speech, but that is absolutely not what happened here.
Not at all. The reaction from his camp was immediate, and it was fierce. He didn't mince words. He called the results fake and a sham.
A sham. That's a heavy word. That implies it was all fabricated.
Precisely. He's not saying, I think there were some errors. He's alleging widespread fraud, ballot stuffing, the works. He is rejecting the legitimacy of the entire game.
And when a political leader does that, it's not just a complaint. It's a signal to his supporters, right? A call to action.
Absolutely. He immediately called for nonviolent street protests. He wants to demand what he calls the rightful result. So you have these two completely separate realities now, landslide victory versus stolen election.
And those two realities are now clashing on the streets. Because this brings us to what's actually happening on the ground. We have reports from late Saturday in areas like Magere and Kampala. And the scene is, well, it's intense.
Very intense. We're seeing images of youths burning tires, setting up barricades. It's the classic sign of civil unrest. And the police response has been swift, using tear gas to disperse people.
And it's not just tear gas, is it? We have some pretty grim statistics on the human cost.
Unfortunately, yes. This is the hardest part. Reports are indicating that since Election Day, somewhere between 7 to 10 protesters have been killed in these clashes.
7 to 10 people. That's a high price for an election result that's barely 24 hours old.
It is tragic. And it shifts this from a political dispute into a full-blown security crisis. The stakes suddenly become life or death.
So what's the atmosphere like in Kampala today? I mean, is it business as usual?
Far from it. The reports describe an eerie quiet. Kampala is normally this bustling, vibrant city.
Right.
But right now, the streets are largely deserted. A lot of businesses have just kept their shutters down.
Out of fear. Or as a protest.
Mostly fear, and also because of the sheer scale of the security presence. There is a heavy military and police presence in Kampala and other cities, and they're there specifically to prevent mass demonstrations.
So the city is just holding its breath.
Exactly. It's an economic halt, a social freeze. Everyone is waiting to see what happens next.
Now, here's where things get even more complicated. A lot of this is happening in sort of a digital fog. Let's talk about the information blackout.
This is such a critical piece of the puzzle. The government implemented a total internet blackout 2 days before the election.
2 days before, so people went to vote already cut off from the world.
Completely cut off. Imagine trying to coordinate poll watchers or even just read the news and you can't. The government's reason was to curb misinformation.
The classic justification, we're doing this for your own good to keep the peace.
Right. But the effect is an information vacuum. Evidence of what's happening at polling stations can't get out. You can't upload a video of something suspicious if you have no internet. It essentially blinds everyone.
And what's the status today? Is it back on?
Only partially restored. So we're still in this murky period where information is just trickling out. We're seeing fragments, not the full picture.
And in the middle of this information vacuum, we have this mystery around Bobi Wine himself. This part reads like a thriller.
It really does. There's so much confusion about his physical location, his safety.
He claimed he escaped a raid on his house, didn't he?
He did. On Friday night, he says he escaped a military raid on his home.
Wow. And now?
Now he says he's in an undisclosed location, so he's in hiding. Meanwhile, the authorities have placed his family under house arrest.
So let's just picture that. The main opposition candidate is on the run, his family is under guard, and the internet is barely working. That puts the landslide victory in a very different context.
It absolutely does. It adds this layer of extreme volatility. When the opposition leader isn't just losing, but is physically unaccounted for and claiming he's being hunted, it galvanizes his supporters in a totally different way.
It turns him into a symbol.
Precisely. And it's a lot harder to suppress a symbol than it is to suppress a politician.
Okay, so let's shift to the official narratives. How is President Museveni framing all of this? Is he reaching out, trying to calm things down?
Well, in his Sunday address, he did urge people to accept the outcome. But the language he used was telling. It wasn't exactly a speech about unity.
How so?
He characterized the landslide as a taste of the strength of his ruling party, the NRM.
A taste of the strength. That doesn't sound conciliatory. That sounds like a flex.
It is a flex. It's emphasizing dominance, raw power. It's a message that says, we are in control, and this is not up for discussion. It's almost a warning inside a victory speech.
Which suggests the government is not in the mood to entertain any of these complaints.
I think that's a fair reading, yes.
So what about the international observers, the referees? The African Union had a mission there, right?
They did, and it's led by a pretty serious figure, former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan.
Okay.
And their report is nuanced. It's a classic yes, but situation.
Okay, break that down for us. What's the yes and what's the but?
The yes is that the AU mission found that the actual voting day itself was relatively peaceful.
Okay.
The but, and it's a very big but, is that the overall process leading up to it was deeply flawed. They specifically cited intimidation, arrests, and abductions of opposition members.
So the game itself was peaceful, but only after you'd kneecap the other team's star players.
That's a great analogy. If you harass the opposition for months, having a quiet day at the polls doesn't necessarily make the election fair. The AAU is pointing to that, validating some of the opposition's core complaints.
And the opposition isn't just protesting, they are preparing legal challenges too.
They are. And they're focusing on a very specific technical issue.
The biometric machines.
Exactly. There was a widespread failure of the biometric voter ID machines in several key districts.
And let's just explain why that's so important. These machines are supposed to be the safeguard against fraud, right? One person, one vote.
They're the digital gatekeeper. They match your fingerprint to the voter roll. If the machine fails, officials have to switch back to paper lists.
And that's where things can get messy.
That's where the vulnerability is. Manual lists make it much easier for ghost voters to appear or for ballot boxes to be stuffed. It removes that digital check.
And in an environment with zero trust, a technical failure doesn't look like an accident. It looks like sabotage.
To the losing side, absolutely.
Yeah.
It feeds directly into their narrative that the system was rigged to fail.
Okay, so let's just recap where we stand. It's Sunday. Museveni has a 7th term. Bobi Wine is in hiding. Kampala is under a military lockdown, the internet is barely on, and people have been killed in protests.
That's the stark reality of it. It's a moment of profound instability.
So what's the bigger picture here? Why should someone listening care about this election in Uganda?
Well, it's not just about Uganda. The country is a major security partner in a volatile region. Instability there can easily ripple outwards. But on a deeper level, this is really about the tension between strength, to use Museveni's own word, and civil liberties.
The classic clash between order and freedom.
Exactly. Museveni is offering stability, strength. The cost is the internet blackouts, the arrests. Bobi Wine is offering change. But that path right now looks incredibly risky and unstable.
It feels like a breaking point, doesn't it? You have this old guard, this decades-long power structure, colliding with one of the youngest populations in the world.
It is. And it raises this fundamental question about what authority even means in the 21st century.
Which brings us to our final thought.
Right. I want you to just ponder this. In an era where a government can flip a switch and turn off the internet, and where the tech that's supposed to guarantee fairness can just fail on a massive scale,
Yeah.
can an election result ever truly be accepted by the losing side anymore?
Or is the process itself now the real source of the conflict?
Is the mechanism broken, or is it being deliberately jammed? That's the question Uganda is facing right now.
That is a huge question to chew on. Well, that is all the time we have for today on The Deep Dive. Thank you for listening. Stay curious, keep asking questions, and we'll catch you next time.